High in the clouds of the Himalayas, there are places not meant for ordinary eyes. Monasteries suspended between sky and stone, as if someone built them with ancient prayers instead of bricks. They're not in guidebooks. There are no clear paths. They only appear if you truly believe. Moss-covered walls, fluttering prayer flags, and stairways leading into the sky all seem to guard a secret never spoken aloud. Mountain people whisper that these are not just temples, but doorways between this world and another. And if you're still watching this, maybe you've been chosen. Do you dare keep going to uncover what's really hidden behind those cliffs? Takshang Monastery was built directly into a vertical cliff about 3,000 feet high with no flat foundation, making it look stuck to the side of the mountain. This monastery cannot be reached by car. People must hike or ride a horse through steep and rugged forest paths. The structure was built entirely by hand in the 17th century, without any help from modern tools or machines. Strong winds and fog constantly surround the monastery, making it appear and disappear like a natural mountain illusion. There is no modern water supply system. Water must be brought up from below or collected using old rock wells. Thixi Monastery stands on a high hillside in a dry mountain region where morning light makes the whole monastery glow like a sacred symbol. The monastery was built in the 15th century with a multi-level design carved into the mountain, resembling an ancient spiritual fortress. Inside is a golden statue of Maitreya Buddha, almost 50 feet tall, drawing thousands of people who come to pray and show devotion. Legend says the location was chosen after a good sign appeared during the founder's pilgrimage. Many visitors say they feel a pure energy calming their minds when they enter the main temple hall. Today, the monastery still trains monks, preserves ancient texts, and connects globally through cultural and spiritual exchange programs. Dangkar Monastery is an ancient Buddhist monastery located in an inaccessible position atop a high hill with steep and winding paths full of challenges. The monastery's architecture is a perfect blend of Tibetan culture and the surrounding wild nature. The thick stone walls and the wooden and earthen roofs create a solemn and cozy atmosphere. Inside, visitors can admire ancient Buddhist artworks, with murals and Buddha statues intricately crafted, depicting stories from Buddha's life. The spiritual secrets and mystical stories about the monastery are also an integral part of this exploration, making Dangkar Monastery a must-visit destination for those interested in exploring and learning about Buddhist beliefs. Paro Dzong is an old monastery and fortress built on a high mountainside, standing out with grand design in a peaceful and wide natural mountain setting. The structure has tall, white walls, red roofs, and golden towers that shine under sunlight, creating a majestic and powerful scene from a distance. It is surrounded by pine forests, with fresh air all year, each season bringing a unique charm, like white snow, pink blossoms, golden leaves, or green fields. The atmosphere here always feels calm and pure, like a quiet world where your spirit returns to peace and deep reflection. Its buildings were made without iron nails, using old secret techniques passed through generations that still remain a mystery today. Locals believe the place has sacred energy that can keep evil away and provide protection from guardian spirits. Tawang Monastery is located over 1,000 feet high in the Himalayas, where mountains and clouds form a majestic and breathtaking landscape. The monastery was built in 1680, based on a spiritual vision by the fifth Dalai Lama, giving it a sacred and powerful meaning. The monastery is carefully preserved through restoration work, monk training programs, and promoting Buddhist culture to visitors around the world. Stakna Gompa is a Buddhist monastery with a history of over 400 years, located on a high hill, allowing visitors to enjoy the beautiful view of the Indus River and the surrounding valley. The architecture of the monastery is heavily influenced by Tibetan Buddhism, with wall paintings depicting Buddhist stories and finely crafted Buddha statues. The monastery is also known for its library that houses ancient Buddhist texts, helping preserve valuable Buddhist knowledge of the region. Every year, Stakna Gompa attracts many visitors and pilgrims to participate in traditional Buddhist festivals. This monastery is not only a religious center, but also a place where monks study and teach Buddhist philosophy. The surrounding landscape, with vast mountains and valleys, creates a peaceful and serene environment, perfect for those seeking tranquility. Diskit Monastery sits on a hill over 1,000 feet high, surrounded by rugged mountains and a vast, dry valley. The monastery features unique architecture with rooms made of stone and wood, a flat roof, and a giant Maitreya Buddha statue overlooking the valley. Inside the monastery are rare Thangka scrolls and Buddha statues made of pure copper, along with ancient scriptures written in natural ink. The artworks here are not only beautiful, but also hold deep spiritual meaning, reflecting enlightenment and belief in the cycle of reincarnation. The monastery also holds many esoteric texts, passed down only to senior monks on special occasions, adding to its mystique. The journey to Disket is not just a physical challenge, but also a spiritual path where one finds inner peace and silence. Hemis Monastery was built at about 12,000 feet high, in cold mountain terrain where thin air and rough roads make travel difficult year-round. The monastery has a large fortress-like structure with connected rooms and a wide central courtyard used for major religious ceremonies. Inside are hand-painted Thangka scrolls, gold-covered Buddha statues, and scriptures written in red ink, kept safely in sealed wooden boxes. The journey to Hemis combines a physical challenge and spiritual path, where people can easily reflect and connect with their inner self. Key Monastery stands on a steep cliff, about 3,500 feet high, surrounded by dry, rocky mountains, cold air, and strong winds all year. The monastery looks like a giant beehive clinging to the slope, with many stacked levels forming a maze for meditation. Inside are hand-painted wall murals made from natural minerals, showing reincarnation, meditation, and enlightenment through Buddhist images. Many ancient scriptures and rare Thangka are hidden in stone wall niches, not allowed to be copied and used only for secret rituals. The journey here is both a physical challenge and spiritual path, where visitors face themselves in deep silence. Gompa is an ancient Buddhist monastery built in the 14th century, located at an altitude of 12,500 feet. The unique location of the monastery provides a wonderful view of snow-capped mountains and surrounding valleys. The architecture of the monastery is very simple but highly sacred, with buildings made of stone and wood in the Tibetan Buddhist style. The monastery serves as an important center for Buddhism, attracting many devotees and tourists every year. Despite being located in a remote area, Gompa remains a popular destination for those seeking peace in their lives. Each year, the monastery hosts Buddhist festivals, attracting pilgrims and tourists to participate. Rizong Monastery is one of the most famous Tibetan Buddhist monasteries, yet it is not widely known. Located in a high and secluded mountainous region, this monastery attracts not only for its architectural beauty, but also for its absolute tranquility, which brings peace to visitors. Built in the 19th century, the monastery still preserves its ancient beauty and murals that contain spiritual messages. The journey to Rizong Monastery is a challenge, but it is also an opportunity to explore patience and spirituality deeply. The Buddhist rituals here are very special, with prayer ceremonies that are believed to bring peace and tranquility to those who participate. Phayang Monastery stands on a mountain slope over 2,400 feet high, where dry land and dark rocky peaks create a silent and isolated space. The path to the monastery winds along steep cliffs, turning the trip into a challenge for those seeking something sacred. The structure is built like a fortress, with thick white walls, layered brown wooden roofs, and tall prayer towers among mountain scenery. Many Buddha statues made of bronze and stone, and ancient handwritten scriptures in Old Tibetan script are stored in wooden boxes opened only during special rituals. A legend tells of a mystical monk who once lived here, leaving behind strong spiritual energy still felt inside the monastery. The journey to Phyang is not just a mountain trip, but a spiritual path into a mysterious world beyond ordinary understanding. Matho Monastery stands on a mountain ledge over 2,100 feet high, surrounded by dry rocks and cold winds blowing all year. Getting there is challenging with narrow, steep paths and loose stones that make every step a careful move. Golden-painted wooden statues and ancient handwritten scriptures in Tibetan script are kept in closed wooden boxes with care. The most famous legend of Matho is about two possessed monks who can predict the future and heal during special rituals. The trip to Matho is a deep spiritual experience where faith, art, and mystery blend in a sacred and silent space. Tayul Gompa is located at about 5,000 feet high, surrounded by green forests and snow-covered mountains all year, creating a peaceful and majestic atmosphere. The monastery was built in the 17th century by a Tibetan Lama from the Drukpa Kagyu tradition, with old-style wooden roofs, thick stone walls, and preserved Buddhist paintings. During season changes, chanting sounds rise from the main hall even when no one is inside, making many believe the monastery connects to an unseen world. Rangdum Monastery is located about 13,000 feet high, between a wide, empty valley and sharp mountain peaks, creating a wild landscape like another planet. The monastery has classic Tibetan architecture and stands isolated in cold winds and white snow, making it a perfect space for deep meditation. It is known for having strange magnetic fields, where modern devices do not work properly in certain areas. A strange light once appeared as a soft blue glow on the roof at night, with no visible light source. People who meditated deeply here said time felt stretched and they could hear the thoughts of others. Some ancient texts had letters that faded and reappeared like breathing, making many believe the texts were alive. One statue in the main hall was said to shift its gaze during a ceremony, causing total silence among all monks. Shashur Gompa is located at an elevation of over 4,000 feet, surrounded by ancient pine forests and majestic mountains, creating a grand and peaceful natural setting. The monastery was built in the 17th century by a lama of the Drukpa tradition and features traditional architecture with ancient Thangka paintings made from natural minerals. During full moon nights, a faint, mysterious light appears deep inside the main chamber with no clear source. Many who have meditated there describe the experience as if time stretches and normal awareness fades away. Because of this, the monastery is seen as a powerful energy point where the line between reality and the meditative realm becomes unclear. Namgyal Tsemo Monastery is located at about 12,000 feet high, built on a tall, rocky mountain overlooking a wide valley with dry land and snowy peaks. The monastery has ancient Tibetan architecture with red and white stone walls, wooden roofs, and a large golden Buddha statue lit by natural light through small windows. Inside, it holds wall paintings made with natural minerals, and some images appear clearly only when light hits at the right angle. Legends say that on moonless nights, the Buddha statue glows softly without any light source, and chanting can be heard even when no one is there. One sealed room is believed to keep an ancient text with lost teachings, only to be opened when a worthy successor appears. Lakyung Monastery sits on a hill about 9,500 feet high, surrounded by pine forests, snowy peaks, and mist that create a calm and mysterious atmosphere. Built in the 19th century by Tibetan monks, the monastery has red roofs, white stone walls, and colorful traditional Buddhist patterns. In winter, the whole area is covered with white snow, while spring brings wildflowers, making the scene look peaceful like a fairy tale. A legend says this place was once guarded by a fierce spirit beast that blocked people and caused strange events when approached. A lama meditated for 7 days and held a ceremony, after which the beast surrendered and became the monastery's protector spirit. Locals believe that on full moon nights, a soft light sometimes moves around the monastery as a sign of the guardian spirit still watching. Serang Gompa Monastery is located about 1,500 feet high, among snow-covered forests and narrow valleys that create a wild and isolated space. The monastery has solid stone buildings, red tile roofs, and stone-paved hallways blending with the cold mountain nature. Wooden pillars and door frames are carved with lotus flowers, dharma wheels, and meditation symbols by hand. Inside are hand-painted murals using mineral colors, showing stages of enlightenment and spiritual realms, with colors still clear over time. Ancient statues and handwritten scriptures are placed in deep stone niches, only opened during sacred events, adding to the mystery. Many say that on snowy nights, they heard chanting from the main hall, even though all doors were locked and no one was inside. Gangti Monastery stands over 9,800 feet high on a misty plateau surrounded by forests, creating a sacred space completely separated from the modern world. The entire structure follows classic Tibetan design, with curved roofs, thick stone walls, and red-painted wooden frames built without using modern materials. Inside the monastery are rare ancient Thangka paintings, and some only become fully visible when sacred candles are lit exactly at sunset. A unique detail lies in the meditation floor carvings, which reveal hidden symbols when viewed from an angle under dim lighting. Some monks who meditate deeply here say they feel their consciousness rising, as if leaving their body and entering a higher state of awareness. Gangti is not only a home for ancient Buddhist art, but also the only monastery practicing dynamic meditation to harmonize with natural energy. Ganden Monastery sits on an open mountainside, surrounded by deep valleys and endless blue skies that create a landscape both grand and solitary. On clear days, clouds drift below the monastery, while sunlight reflects brightly off golden domes standing out against the cold grey rock. The monastery was founded in the early 15th century by Tsongkhapa and quickly became a major center for learning and meditation in the Himalayan region. A mysterious legend tells that after Tsongkhapa passed away, a strange light came from the stupa, holding his remains. Drigungtil Monastery sits about 13,700 feet high on a steep limestone slope where white clouds float over red roofs in the cold highland scenery. Founded in the 12th century by Jigten Sumgun, the monastery became a well-known center for meditation and rituals in the Drikung Kagyu tradition. The monastery blends with nature, with its main hall, meditation areas, and old retreat caves surrounded by rocky hills and sparse forests. Behind the monastery is a line of rocks shaped like a coiled dragon, where people once saw a spiral green light appear during windy nights. Surfu Monastery is located about 14,700 feet high among steep black mountains and windy valleys, creating a majestic and isolated setting. Its architecture follows traditional Tibetan style with large stone buildings, flat roofs, and white walls that stand out in the harsh landscape. Inside are collections of art, including gold-covered bronze statues, wall paintings made with minerals, and handwritten scriptures on old herbal paper. Stone corridors leading to the main hall echo footsteps, adding to the sacred and quiet feeling inside the monastery. Many say that at dawn they heard chanting from the cliffs around the monastery even though no one was there. Monks believe these sounds are echoes from deep meditations of enlightened masters, like invisible energy imprinted in the space. Punakha Dzong is located at about 4,000 feet above sea level, between two rivers and surrounded by green forests and mountain ranges. Its architecture blends stone, wood, and baked clay, with curved red roofs standing out over tall, solid white walls. Inside the monastery are old paintings made with natural pigments, showing Buddhas, bodhisattvas, and colorful realms of rebirth. Locals believe the Dzong was built based on a prophetic dream of a fiery palace floating on the river, carrying sacred energy. Some monks say they have seen green light spreading from the roof to the river surface during full moon nights, like a holy sign. The Dzong is not only for spiritual practice, but also a royal ceremony center, blending political power with traditional Buddhist values. Mind-Rolling Monastery is built on open land, where golden roofs shine brightly among green bamboo forests and peaceful blue skies. It was founded in 1676 and became one of the 6 main Nyingma centers, playing a key role in teaching and practicing Buddhist Dharma. The architecture shows Tibetan style with tall walls, finely carved wooden pillars, and wide spaces for meditation and sacred rituals. A legend says that behind the main shrine is a mandala garden where lotuses once bloomed at night and small lights floated on the water. During a major ceremony, while monks were chanting, a sweet fragrance filled the garden like mist, and the air turned mysteriously magical. Many believe this was a sign of blessings from bodhisattvas, making the garden a special meditation place only open on sacred days. Namdroling Monastery, located amidst bamboo forests and lush green fields, creates a peaceful and secluded space for meditation. The monastery's architecture stands out with its golden curved roofs, red walls, and towering stupas decorated with dragons and mandalas, all amidst the greenery. Inside, there are Buddha statues over 60 feet tall, covered in gold and placed on intricately carved bases, surrounded by butter lamps and fresh flowers. The wall murals depict cycles of rebirth and guardian deities, using mineral colors that still maintain their brightness and depth. Sera Monastery was built on a mountain slope about 12,700 feet high, where bright red roofs stand out against grey rocks and a clear blue sky. Founded in 1419 under the Gelug tradition, it became a center for Buddhist philosophy and debate in the Tibetan highlands. The monastery is peaceful, yet lively with daily debates in the wide stone courtyard held by monks every afternoon. Behind the monastery is a rocky hill where a great master is said to have reached rainbow body, leaving only his robe floating after passing away. Locals believe his enlightened energy remains there, making the site a sacred pilgrimage destination for practitioners and meditators. When strong winds blow, people say they still hear faint sounds of Dharma bells from the hilltop, even though no one is touching them. Namgyal Monastery is located in high mountain terrain, surrounded by pine forests and steep cliffs, creating a mystical and isolated natural landscape. It was built in the 16th century by a respected Lama and was originally a small retreat that later became a famous spiritual center. The monastery's architecture blends with nature, with carved wooden roofs and ancient stone corridors that have remained intact for hundreds of years. One well-known legend says that during a harsh winter, the monastery was buried in snow for 30 days, without outside contact. This unexplained event has deepened the mysterious reputation of the monastery over the centuries. The government is now working to preserve the site while maintaining its sacred silence and spiritual atmosphere. Phuktal Monastery is a unique Buddhist monastery, hidden within the Zanskar Range, accessible only through rugged trails. The monastery stands out with its majestic architecture, built into the cliffside, resembling a giant bird's nest. The buildings in the monastery are arranged in layers, like houses stacked upon each other, blending harmoniously with the wild nature. The murals inside the monastery are ancient works of art, reflecting the life of the Buddha and spiritual teachings. Not only a place for meditation, the monastery also holds deep spiritual secrets with mystical stories about sacred rituals. The journey to Phuktal Monastery is a challenging exploration, leading visitors into a peaceful and serene space, separated from the noisy world outside. Lamayuru Monastery stands on a mountain slope over 11,000 feet high, surrounded by strange grey rock formations that resemble the surface of the moon. The scenery here is both wild and majestic, with deep valleys and snowy peaks stretching to the horizon that never melt. The monastery was founded over 1,000 years ago by the legendary monk Naropa, who chose this sacred place for deep meditation. It is a major center of Vajrayana Buddhism, where monks practice tantra, paint mandalas, and host meaningful traditional mask festivals. An old legend says the monastery was once on a lake guarded by evil forces, which Naropa drove away using spiritual power. Today, the monastery is preserved through restoration and teaching projects, becoming a living symbol of faith in a harsh, natural setting. Laikya Monastery stands alone over 1,200 feet high, in rocky mountains where wind blows all year and mist covers the path. The way to the monastery is winding, rough and steep, making visitors feel like entering a separate spiritual world. The structure was built like an old fortress with Buddhist design, having thick white walls, layered roofs, and tall prayer towers. Inside are hand-painted murals from centuries ago, showing cycles of rebirth and mysterious Buddhist legends. It's believed that some spiritual masters once meditated deeply in hidden rooms, leaving powerful energy still felt today. The journey to Likir is both physical and spiritual, where every step leads deeper into a sacred and ancient dimension.